She texted, "I'm using your apartment for my book club tonight. Make yourself scarce." It was MY apartment. She didn't even live there. I replied, "Enjoy." Then I changed the door code, ordered pizza for myself, and watched a movie on MY couch while her book club stood outside in the cold. When she called screaming, original post, I, 28 male, have been dating my girlfriend for about 14 months. We don't live together. Let me repeat that because it becomes important. We do not live together. She has her own place about 20 minutes from mine. I have a one-bedroom apartment that I pay $1,840 a month for, alone, with my name on the lease and nobody else's. About 6 months into dating, I gave her the door code to my smart lock. For convenience. She'd come over after work sometimes. I'd be running late from the gym, whatever. Normal couple stuff. I thought it was a nice gesture of trust. She thought it was a transfer of ownership, apparently. It started small. She'd rearrange a shelf. Then she moved my coffee table because the feng shui was off. Then she started telling her friends they could swing by my place to use the bathroom during a street fair in my neighborhood because it's basically our apartment. I let it slide because I'm dumb and she's pretty, and I was in that phase where you rationalize everything. Then last Thursday happened. I'm at work. Normal day. Around 2 p.m., I get a text from her that says, and I quote, "Hey, I'm using your apartment for book club tonight. There's going to be about 8 of us. Can you make yourself scarce from like 6 to 10? Thanks, babe." Not a question. Not would you mind. Not is it okay if. A command. Make yourself scarce. From my own apartment. That I pay for. Where I live. I stared at that text for a solid 3 minutes. My coworker asked if I was okay, because apparently I was just frozen at my desk with my mouth slightly open. Now here's the thing. She's done this before on a smaller scale. Had a friend over at my place without asking. Once told her mom she could drop off some storage boxes in my living room temporarily. They're still there. But this was a whole new level. She was literally scheduling events at my residence and telling me to leave. I typed back, "Enjoy." That's it. 2 characters and an exclamation point. Then I went into my smart lock app and changed the door code. I left work at 5, stopped at the pizza place on my block, ordered a large pepperoni with jalapenos, grabbed a 6-pack from the corner store, and went home. Locked the door, changed into sweatpants, put on a movie, sat on MY couch in MY apartment, eating MY pizza. At 6:15, my phone started buzzing. The code isn't working. Hello. Are you inside? I can see lights on. Then the knocking started. Then the calling. I let it ring. Twice. 3 times. When I finally picked up on the 4th call, she was already in 9 out of 10. "Why did you change the code? I have 8 people out here. We brought wine and charcuterie boards. This is so embarrassing." I took a bite of pizza, chewed, swallowed. Then I said, "Yeah, this is my apartment. I live here. I'm eating dinner." The silence was deafening for about 4 seconds before she absolutely lost it. "You told me to enjoy." I thought that meant yes. It meant enjoy your evening. Somewhere else. Because you never asked me. You told me to leave my own home. She hung up on me. I finished my movie. It was a good movie. I had a great night, honestly. Woke up Friday morning to a wall of texts from her best friend, and somehow her mother. All calling me petty, childish, embarrassing, and, my personal favorite, emotionally abusive for not letting my girlfriend use my apartment. Her mom's text said, and I swear this is real, "A real man would have just gone to a bar for a few hours. You don't deserve my daughter. Ma'am, your daughter tried to evict me from my own apartment for a wine night. But sure, I'm the problem. Now she's not speaking to me unless I apologize. Her friends are giving me dirty looks when I run into them. One of them DM'd me on Instagram calling me controlling. I genuinely want to know, AITA here? Because I'm starting to feel like I'm in some alternate reality where paying rent means nothing. Update 1, 5 days later. So this blew up more than I expected. I posted the original thing mostly to vent and make sure I wasn't losing my mind. The consensus was pretty clear that I wasn't the crazy one, which I appreciated because for about 48 hours there, her entire circle had me questioning my own sanity. Let me catch you all up because it's gotten worse. Way worse. After the silent treatment lasted through the weekend, she showed up at my apartment Monday evening. Unannounced, obviously. She buzzed the building intercom because, shocker, the door code still didn't work. I let her up because I figured we needed to talk like adults. She walked in looking around my apartment like she was doing an inspection. First thing out of her mouth wasn't, "Hey," or "We should talk." It was, "You moved the throw pillows back to where they were." I said, "Yeah, they're my pillows in my apartment." She sat down and launched into this whole speech about how, when you're in a relationship, things become ours. That giving her the door code was essentially saying, "This is your space too." That she'd been telling her friends for months that we were practically living together, and that the book club thing was her trying to build community in our shared space. I told her it's not a shared space. My name is on the lease. I pay the rent. She has a key code for convenience, not co-ownership. I asked her point blank, "Do you pay any portion of rent here?" She said no, but that she contributes in other ways like buying groceries sometimes and decorating. I told her that buying a $6 bag of spinach and hanging up a decorative sign that says, "Live, Laugh, Love," doesn't equal $1,840 a month. She didn't appreciate that. Then she said something that genuinely floored me. She goes, "Well, I told my book club we'd host here again next Thursday. So can we figure out the new code situation?" Again, she was scheduling the next event, an MY apartment, while we were actively arguing about the last time she did this. I said no. I said absolutely not. I said the code situation is figured out. She doesn't have one anymore. She stared at me like I'd slapped her. "You're taking away my access? I'm protecting my space. This is so toxic." She left, slammed the door hard enough that my neighbor poked her head out. I apologized to the neighbor. She said she heard the whole thing through the wall and, quote, "That girl is wild. At least someone gets it." Tuesday, the flying monkeys came out in force. Her best friend texted me this long paragraph about how my girlfriend has been nothing but a supportive partner and I'm punishing her for wanting to be comfortable. Said she cried for 2 hours after leaving my place and that I'm breaking her down emotionally. Then, and this is where it gets really fun, her mom called me. Not texted, called. This woman, who I've met exactly 3 times, called me at work to tell me I was being a selfish boy and that in her day, men opened their homes to their partners without hesitation. She told me my girlfriend had been looking at apartments closer to mine because she assumed we'd be moving in together soon, and that I was leading her on by giving her the code and then taking it back. I told her, respectfully, that this was between me and her daughter. She said, "When you hurt my daughter, it becomes my business." I didn't argue. I just said I had to get back to work and hung up. Wednesday is where things took a real turn. I came home from work, and there were 3 large boxes stacked outside my apartment door. I opened one. It was her stuff. Clothes, bathroom products, a hairdryer, more decorative nonsense. She had apparently gone to my building while I was at work, couldn't get in the apartment, and just left her belongings in the hallway outside my door. She texted me, "I brought over some of my things since we clearly need to work on integration. Just let me know the new code when you're ready to be mature about this." Integration. Like we're merging 2 corporations. I texted back, "I'm dropping these back at your place tomorrow." Her, "You're seriously going to return my stuff? Like I'm some stranger?" Me, "You don't live here." Her, "Wow. Okay. Wow." Thursday morning, I loaded the boxes into my car and drove them to her apartment. She wasn't home. I left them with her roommate, who looked at me with this mix of pity and confusion and said, "She told me you guys were basically moved in together." I said, "We are not." Her roommate just nodded slowly and said, "Yeah, that tracks actually." Thursday evening, she called me crying, like genuinely sobbing. Said I was humiliating her in front of everyone. Said her roommate now thinks she's delusional. Said her book club friends are asking questions. Said I was dismantling her life. I felt bad. I'm not a monster. Hearing someone you care about cry like that does something to you. But I also know what I'd be signing up for if I caved. I'd be apologizing for having boundaries in my own home. I'd be handing over the keys, literally, to someone who treats my space like a community center. I told her I think we need to have a serious conversation about expectations and where this relationship actually is. She said, "The conversation is that you need to give me the code back and apologize for embarrassing me." So that's where we are. She thinks the resolution is me caving. I think the resolution is either a genuine reset with clear boundaries or we go our separate ways. Her mom has texted me twice more. I haven't opened them. Her best friend posted a vague story that said, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them," with a pointed emoji. I'm pretty sure it was about me, which is hilarious because I think that quote applies way more to their side of this. Update 2, 9 days later. All right, final update, because I think this saga has reached its natural conclusion, and honestly, I need to stop living it and start processing it. When I left off, she was demanding the code back and an apology. I was holding firm. Her mom and best friend were running a full campaign against me. The weekend after my last update, things got quiet. Too quiet. She didn't text, didn't call, nothing from the mom, nothing from the best friend. I actually started to feel uneasy because in my experience, silence from someone who's been that loud usually means they're planning something. Monday, I got a call from my landlord. My landlord said he received a call from a woman claiming to be my partner who said she'd been locked out of the unit and needed the code reset. She told him she lived there and that I changed the code during an argument and she needed emergency access. My landlord, who is a pretty straightforward guy, told her that only my name is on the lease and he can't give access to anyone not on the lease. He called me to give me a heads up and asked if everything was okay. I sat in my car in the parking lot at work for 10 minutes after that call, just staring at the steering wheel. She called my landlord. She tried to get into my apartment through my landlord by claiming she lived there. That's not. She's upset and acting out. That's a boundary I can't come back from. I called her. She picked up on the second ring, casual as anything, like she hadn't just tried to social engineer her way into my apartment. "Hey, what's up?" "You call my landlord." Pause. "I just thought maybe he could help since you're being unreasonable. You told him you live here." "I practically do." "You don't. You've never paid rent. You're not on the lease. You have your own apartment 20 minutes away." She started getting heated, said I was obsessed with technicalities, called the lease thing a piece of paper, said that emotionally, spiritually, and in every way that matters, my apartment was hers too. I told her it was over. Right there on the phone. I said, "I think we need to break up." The crying started immediately. Then the bargaining. She'd never do the book club thing again. She'd ask before coming over. She'd talk to her mom about backing off. Everything I'd wanted to hear 2 weeks ago, all of it pouring out now that the actual consequence had arrived. But here's the thing everyone told me, and I finally understood. She wasn't sorry she did it. She was sorry it wasn't working. There's a massive difference. I told her my decision was final. She asked if we could talk in person. I said no. She asked if I'd at least take a few days to think about it. I said I'd been thinking about it for 2 weeks, and I was done. She hung up, and then the real chaos started. Within an hour, her best friend called me. I didn't answer. She texted, "You're making a huge mistake. She's the best thing that ever happened to you, and you're throwing it away over a door code." Yeah, that's definitely what this is about. A door code. Her mom called. Twice. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail that was 4 minutes long. I listened to about 30 seconds of it. The highlights included, "You'll never find someone who loves you like she does, and you're going to regret this when you're alone at 40. Classic. Tuesday, things escalated further. I started getting texts from people I barely knew. Her co-worker, a college friend of hers I'd met once at a party, even her cousin, all with variations of "I heard what happened," and "she's devastated," and "don't you think you're overreacting?" She had apparently told all of them a version of events where I locked her out in the cold and threw her belongings at her roommate and broke up with her over the phone without warning. No mention of the book club commandeering. No mention of calling my landlord. No mention of months of boundary crossing. I didn't respond to any of them. Not a single one. I just muted notifications from numbers I didn't recognize. Wednesday, she showed up at my apartment building. Buzzed the intercom. I didn't answer. She buzzed again. Then again. Then she called my phone. I let it ring. She left a voicemail that was half crying, half angry. Said she deserves a face-to-face conversation at minimum. Said I was discarding her like trash. I texted her, "We broke up. I need space. Please stop coming to my building." Her, "So that's it? 14 months, and I don't even get a conversation." Me, "We had multiple conversations. You demanded the code back in every single one. There was nothing left to discuss. She didn't respond to that. Thursday, and this is the part that sealed it for me completely, my neighbor knocked on my door. The same neighbor who'd overheard the argument. She said, "Hey, I don't want to get involved, but that girl who was here? She was in the hallway earlier today, trying door codes on your lock. I watched her punch in like 6 different combinations. She was trying to guess the new code. After we broke up, while I wasn't home, I called my landlord and told him everything. He was cool about it. Said he'd flag the situation with building management and that if she showed up again, the front desk would ask her to leave. I also changed the code one more time just to be safe. Friday, I sent her one final text. I know you were at my building Thursday, trying codes on my door. I've informed my landlord and building management. Please don't come to my building again. I wish you well, but this needs to stop." She read it. Didn't reply for 6 hours. Then, I left a jacket there, and I wanted to get it. There was no jacket. I blocked her number, blocked her best friend, blocked her mom, didn't block the Instagram because honestly I forgot, and by the time I remembered it didn't matter anymore because she'd already unfollowed me and scrubbed every photo of us from her page. Her best friend posted one final story that said, "Some people don't know what they have until it's gone." And then it was quiet. It's been about 2 weeks since the breakup. My apartment is quiet. The live laugh love sign is gone. The throw pillows are where I want them. The boxes her mom stuff came and are gone from my living room. I actually dropped those at her place the same day I dropped off her other things. I'm not going to pretend I'm thriving or that this was easy. 14 months is 14 months. There were good parts of that relationship. She wasn't a villain 24/7. Nobody is. She was funny and smart, and the early months were genuinely great. But somewhere along the line, she decided that what was mine was hers, and when I pushed back on that, I became the enemy. And the infrastructure she'd built around her, the mom, the best friend, the entire support network, they all reinforced the idea that she was right and I was a monster. That's what got me the most, honestly. Not the book club thing, not the landlord call. It was the way an entire group of people could look at the situation and conclude that I was wrong for wanting to eat pizza in my own apartment on a Thursday night. My buddy asked me if I regret the way I handled the book club night specifically. The code change, the pizza, the movie. He said it was a little petty. Maybe. Probably even. But I'll tell you what. If I just quietly left and gone to a bar like her mom suggested, we'd still be together right now. And she'd be hosting her book club at my place every Thursday. And her mom's boxes would still be in my living room. And eventually she'd stop asking permission for anything at all because she never really started. Sometimes petty is just another word for, I'm done pretending this is okay. My lease is up in 4 months. I'm already looking at new places. Fresh start, new code, and this time I'm keeping it to myself. That's it. That's the whole thing. Thanks for reading. Thanks for the reality checks. And if you're out there giving someone the code to your apartment, maybe don't. Or at least date someone who understands the difference between access and ownership. Peace.